Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Breaking the Ceiling. Today I have a very interesting person who I have admired for a very long time, entrepreneur, hotelier, and a good friend of mine. He runs 50 restaurants, 27 hotels, 7 cloud kitchens, which is a new addition, and one FMCG brand. I'm talking about none other than Vikram Kamat, the chairman and founder of VITS Group. Hey Vikram, welcome to Breaking the Ceiling. So, Vikram, you've been from the longest time that I've known you. I've always seen you try so many new things, and grow as a person. But before we jump into Wits Group, I would like to know you before Wits Group. What did you do? What did you study? Right up to the foundation of Wits Group. I would love to know your life story.
Sure. So basically, I studied in Cathedral, where I believe your children also go. So the first question that any cathedral I'd ask anybody else is which house, which is what I asked. So I was checking whether they're in the
So,
same.
which house were you in?
I was in the Red House, Baram, what's called Baram. Yeah, Savage. Baram and Savage have a yeah. No, but it's all fun. And after that, I went to catering college. I was all India first in hotel management across all the 26 IHMs, and I had a very exciting and fun time right from school. I did a lot of interesting things in school, memorable not just for me but for a lot of the teachers. And when one day I was crossing the road near school, and Mrs. Isaacs, after so many years, after more than 16 years, it's amazing that she's still the principal after 16 years, which is, I think, a feat commendable, yeah, for her. And I was crossing the road, and her car was there, and she was there, and she said, "Oh, you're that Kamat boy." So I think I've done many memorable things. I shaved my head once to be an old man, so I had like just I went to school bald with just this much hair, and my teacher, this was 11th or 12th standard, and the teacher didn't think it was funny at all, and she sent me to Mrs. Khanduri, who was the headmistress of the senior school at that time, and said, "You think you're very funny, that you keep doing something, like this." That time, the word innovation, unfortunately, in school is not very well appreciated. Innovation is not taken; it's called indiscipline. So, what we call innovation in business. She said, "You're being very indisciplined. I think you're very funny. Go to Mrs. Khanduri." And I'm standing there outside, and whoever's coming in the morning to meet the headmistress is like all looking at me, looking at me. This guy with just this much hair, with like a comb over, is there, And one or two people asked me, "कि ये सच्ची किया है कि तुम उस skull cap पहना है?" and all. So I said, "नहीं and all." Then the moment I entered her office, she just burst out laughing, and she thought it was very funny. So she said, "Go show Meera, go show Meera." Meera being Mrs. Isaac. So I said, "Oh," and I got chal at least. And then when I went down, she was also very positive about it, and so many fun things done in school. And I think that what was indiscipline there became innovation in business, and it just continued after that.
Absolutely. That is just absolutely fantastic. And it's so interesting to see how habits from your childhood play into your adult life, how things that you picked up or small traits play such a big role in your life ahead. Coming to your life, tell me about how you started WITS. What was your motivation behind WITS?
So when obviously the family business is there of Orchid, very well established, eco-friendly, pioneers in eco-friendly first hotel in Asia. And the vision was, as I started a lot of traveling in business, I saw that there's a huge market. This I'm talking about more than 16, 17 years ago. There's a huge market, tier 2, tier 3 cities. There's an unmet demand where there's a lot of business travelers are going, local business is happening, a lot of big banquets are happening. There's a huge F&B scene, but there's a huge void. And that's the creation of WITS, where we wanted a brand which was synonymous with. That time we had the punchline, guest rest best. We serve the guest, we will be the best in the city, and it's the ideal place to rest. And of course, rest also part of restaurant. So that was the idea that we had then, and we've successfully been able to roll that out. We've got 27 hotels today, and adding many more. And in Maharashtra, Gujarat, which is our strongest clusters, in many of the markets, we are the leaders. In most of them, we are. And when it comes to the big cities, definitely in the mini micro market that we're the leader. I mean, we have a hotel in Kalyan, in Thane, in places where people thought that, four-star hotel may not fit you.
I think finding that gap and being able to do something about it is a big challenge nowadays, because I know so many people who have ideas, they identify the gaps, but they don't actually take the leap. Right. So taking that leap and then making sure that it's the right leap, and even if it's not the right leap, adjusting and then making, going forward and then scaling to what you scale, I think is fantastic. While you did all this, I'm very sure you had a lot of challenges. So what kind of challenges did you face in your early days?
See, whenever you're doing anything, pioneering, or whenever you're doing anything innovative, there are a lot of unknowns. And in this case, also, sometimes you have people who have got good hotels in tier two cities, but then maybe not the right people to do business with. Sometimes you end up doing short-term business, you spoil your name. After it's a chicken and egg story. If you don't have the numbers, you can't grow. If you don't grow, then people say, "अरे आपके इतने hotel है नहीं, why should we join you?" So it's a chicken and egg. You associate with some people, you face difficulties. Some owners are very, very good unexpectedly, where you might have not expected. So a lot of challenges, primarily because how to go about, like you rightly said, how do you go about doing it and keep debugging? It's like you're basically running with your belt, which is very loose, and your pant is falling. So you're catching your pant also, and you're trying to run at the same time.
I love that. I love that. I can just
So
visualize.
you're managing many things basically, and you're trying to keep your reputation intact also by keeping your pant up.
I'm so sure I'm going to use that somewhere in my life. I'm definitely going to use that.
This, by the way, the credit for this particular dialogue goes to one of my independent directors. He always keeps telling the staff, that boss, you have to learn to, this is business, boss. You have to learn while your pants are falling. Manage it. Don't.
So in our business, we keep saying you jump off the cliff and build your plane on the way down, kind of a thing. Where you have to innovate really quickly. And at Equinox, we keep at any given point of time, there are 6, 10, and at this moment, 22 different projects which are going on, out of which I know for a fact that only 3 or 5 will succeed and scale. The others will fail, but that's perfectly fine. Like, we encourage failure, because from that failure we learn things, and the next attempt is smarter, the next attempt is better. So that's something that we've been doing. So Fostak was a very interesting case, because it's a government initiative. It started when the CEO of FSSAI was traveling internationally, and he said, hey, other countries have a training program. We need to develop something in India. And I was sitting with him, and we created the basis of Fostak. The entire team was taken on board. Training material was developed. Well, my biggest contribution to Fostak is not the training material, is nothing else. Like, we've done a lot of work, but was the fact that I was able to convince him to go make it a public-private partnership. Now, since it was a public-private partnership, we were able to onboard 200 training partners, train over 2,000 trainers, and last month, I think we finished training 6.5 lakh food safety supervisors. When I spoke to WHO last, they saw this as one of the most successful public-private partnerships globally. And I think FSSAI will probably receive some kind of commendation for that. I think that was, but it's getting the right people, right? Even as I think one of your life lessons was, hey, the first few hotels, finding the right person, maybe the person who partnered wasn't right. So learning how to read people, finding the right set of partners, I think is critical to any project. Uh, Throughout your journey, I'm very sure you've hit a lot of milestones. Can you name one memorable?
I think they all compete for mind share. They all there. I don't think there's any one thing which is so memorable. I'm sorry, I won't have to pass on that. No, I think everything is memorable. Unfortunately, most of the memories that I have are more on the personal side than
So
on
on
the
a
business
personal
one.
side, is there any?
No, I have to say, the day I got married, I can't forget that.
You can't. If you have asked person, you can't say anything else apart from that.
No, and you know what they say, right? You know how to remember your wife's birthday. You remember the best way to remember your anniversary or your wife's birthday. Yeah, just forget it once. So lifelong you keep remembering. And I have forgotten it once.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, I have forgotten it once, and that's how I remember it.
Now you're never going to forget it. So as an entrepreneur, I'm very sure you faced a lot of failures, because when you try and you innovate, you're going to fail. So as a person, how do you handle those feelings?
So I think first of all you need to understand that innovation. When you say the word experimentation, it means there is a trial and error is built into the word itself. That there is a scope for not succeeding in terms of reaching your end goal, but reaching closer to your end goal because you learn something new from the experience. And we've made a lot of mistakes, and that's how we've reached here. I always tell our management training program that good decisions have basically come by making very bad decisions. So those bad decisions give you experiences which make you realize that, oh, this is what I should not do next time. So you should not be afraid of taking a decision or trying experiment. But things we experimented were like we saw that these dosa chefs and all are very difficult to get, and in a day we are making only about 100 dosas. So over a 9 hour 10 hour period, it's only about 10 dosas an hour, which is less than every 6 minutes one dosa. Okay, we are during peak time, a lot of dosas might be there, during the other time less. But that's when we thought we got to do something, because it's very difficult to get these people and keep them on highway 2 shifts and all, and they want to do only what they are already doing, like a tandoor chef or something else. So that's how we got into innovating, where we came out with skillless module, a chefless module for Indian restaurants, which primarily everybody always thought it was not possible. And that's how we patented this dosa device. It's a dosa triangle that we got, and you just put it, and it's like rotating a compass or a protractor, where you put the batter in and you just rotate it around, and it's done. And then that's how we were able to get a new workforce to work for us, because till then ladies were not able to work because they were restricted to making only chapati and all, which normally think, okay, the lady will come make chapati and fulka and all. But now we could, these ladies who knew cooking, but obviously were not exposed to South Indian cooking, because idli, dosa, they are making the batter and all specialized, but batter anyway is coming from a central kitchen. So they could immediately make these products, which then added a new talent pool availability to the restaurant. So that was one kind of innovation that we did. We've done a lot of innovation on booking sources, on certain software, on certain processes also in the hotel itself, like this dosa that I explained one. Some innovative gas-based tandoor that we came out with, because tandoor also again is a very complicated thing, where they have started 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours before. And in a cloud kitchen, if you're starting 2 hours before, you need a cold store as per Mumbai rules. You need a 200 square foot, 100 square foot area just to keep coal, then the ashes. So a lot of complications are there. So we went deep into each thing and tried to innovate what we can do better. And we have a lot of innovations now which have become industry standards. I mean, if you see Orchid also, we started environment friendly and eco friendly. A lot of those innovative practices have become standard practice. Right from would you like to use your sheet every alternate day, or would you like to reuse the next day? Innovative things like using vegetable dyes instead of chemical paints. And that created a market. I mean, when we started, there were no CFL lamps in India. We had to import from Osram, Germany. Yeah, 20 years ago, there were no CFL lamps. They were not available in India. So, not only 20, 25 years ago. So, the innovation is part of our blood. And especially in the food front, we've done a lot of innovation now.
And I think innovation keeps customers, engaged. They appreciate new things. I think, and getting that into the blood of the organization, is always a challenge. But I think if the management, the senior management, and the entire leadership is, promoting innovation, right? And it's okay to make mistakes. Yeah. Even the bottom line, even the freshers, even the interns are not hesitant to try new things because they know, hey, my boss has got my back. Right, so getting that culture right, and I've seen a very few people get that culture right, but I'm glad to see that culture is there at VITS. So I follow this guy called Simon Sinek, right? He's a fantastic motivational speaker. So he was talking about a barista in MGM in Las Vegas, right? So he was like, I went for a coffee and had a fantastic experience. The guy was so engaging, he was so charming, and he spoke to me for 5 minutes. And he's like, I couldn't help but ask him, like, hey, how do you do this? He's like, every 20 minutes, any manager will walk by and he'll ask me, is there anything I can do for you? Can I help you in some way? So I know my leadership has my back. And he's like, funny thing, in the second shift, he works in a different hotel where every manager passing by is trying to find faults in what he's doing. So he's like, there, I'm quiet, I don't talk, I just do the bare minimum and I finish my shift and I go home. And what Simon says is so interesting, that the same person in two different environments produces such different results, and that's a matter of the environment, right? So having the right environment can unlock human potential like nothing else. Uh, Shifting gears a little bit, tell me some common myths associated with your industry.
So everybody thinks the hotel industry, restaurant industry is very glamorous, and it's like seeing a 2-hour film. You're seeing a 2-hour film which was made over 9 months, 6 months in the heat. Between shots, they wait and they have to kill a lot of time, and one shot takes 10, 15 times. Whereas in the hotel and restaurant industry, it's very glamorous, no doubt, especially when you see everybody having fun, drinking, eating, and enjoying in many different ways. So, but as hotel people, as restaurant people, we are the ones doing the service. So we don't really get to enjoy. We are the ones working on 31st. We are the ones working on 25th. We are the ones working on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think people don't. They see it as a consumer. They always think, oh, ये hotel हो, ये restaurant हमेशा full रहता है. तुम लोग का तो अच्छा चल रहा है. अच्छी बात है, अच्छी चल रही है तो, but the perception is wrong because they come at a time when it's happening. So the perception is, oh, you're living a all glamorous life and things and all. No, we're living a life just like everybody else. It's just a job for us.
What I've seen is the great restaurateurs, the great hoteliers, as people, they are so outgoing. They are generous at heart, and the perception many a times is, oh, if it's a hotel owner, he must be a party goer, he must be blowing up money. While at the back end, it's completely different. The person is, quiet person. He loves interacting with people, but they are more sometimes very reserved. They don't blow up money on things. And what do you think? Do you think there is a misconception on what a hotel owner should be versus how they are?
So first, from your question, sir, let me remove one bias. Everybody thinks that if you're a hotel owner or restaurant owner, you have to be a 5-star hotel owner and you have to be a nightclub owner, wearing some big gold chains and some diamonds and things, and with your shirt open till here and all. But there are many normal restaurateurs also. It's a very big field. The world of fashion doesn't only deal with people who are in Lakme Fashion Week. The guy making a simple jeans or a regular good fit shirt or a casual shirt or a track pant is also part of the fashion industry. So that is the super high glamorous part, which is maybe super aspirational. Everybody thinks, but that's all that you see on TV. But restaurateurs are very good normal people who are not spendthrift, who are not spendthrift, and very very pragmatic people. The best part is that we deal every day with hundreds of people. So we have hundreds of, in a smallest of restaurant, you have 10, 15, 20 staff who have 10, 50 different nakhra, 10, 50 different type of attitude, 10, 15 type of different skill, and depending on which side of the bed they get on, different aspects of their attitude and nakhra comes on that day. And then every day you're dealing with 30, 50, 100, different guests who are having their own problems, own stress, own baggage that they're carrying into your restaurant. I was in one restaurant and this guy obviously seems to have had a fight with his wife. We seem to get in the wives a lot. I don't know why. But so he was having a uttapa, and he just wanted to he wanted to boss around somebody, and he was a third, and there was always something happening. So when the steward got the uttapam, he said, "अरे ये uttapa ठंडा है." So that steward said, "नहीं sir, अभी लाया, अभी गर्म है." मैं बोल रहा हूँ ठंडा है. So he said, "नहीं sir, अभी लाया मैं बोल रहा हूँ गर्म है." He touched it. मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना ठंडा है, तुम लेके जाओ. So sometimes you just have to satisfy that ego, It's a mindset. Then he took the uttapa, put it back on the plate, and just got it. So sometimes you just satisfy the ego. So as a restaurant, you're seeing so many people that you just become naturally a better person at reading people because you're dealing with people all the time. That's your only major asset. And that's something that stays with you, which a lot of people don't realize about hoteliers and restaurateurs. They just think that, oh, you're partying all the time, drinking till 4 in the morning and all. And you actually don't drink in your own restaurant, by the way. You might after it shuts, maybe possible, but during work, you're at work. So, yeah.
So tell me now a little bit about your personal productive habits. What would you say are your top 2 things that you do which make you productive?
So, I think first thing from very start, I'm very organized. in terms of schedule, or particular from opposite side also. Like, if I told somebody something, then it's either written down or it's mentioned somewhere, or I don't forget things. I make sure that everything is very organized. So I think that helps a lot. And I think as part of that organized thing, I maintain lists. Like, even for work, I have a list, and then I keep referring to old list to see has all the work got done. And so I think that organized covers a lot of aspects, like uh, that helps, a lot of productivity in general, and it helps in follow up, because then my follow up is very killer. I'm sure my staff can tell you. Yeah, and follow. So I have something every week. We have a weekly review, and so that makes it very difficult for people to escape.
Because you note down what the person has to do.
I note down what they're saying. We have a summary that goes for each person, and then we have, like, okay, on next week, what that becomes the agenda for next week. So it becomes very difficult.
I think that's a fantastic way of running meetings and running one-on-ones and running this thing,
And
right?
then there's no chance for anybody to say, "Oh, I didn't know this."
Okay, we are now going to go to a quick rapid fire session. Okay, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Bombay.
Why?
I think, having seen other places, I think, out of all the other places that I've been to, Bombay seems the best. I've been to Japan many times. I don't know if I'd be able to. I would. I mean, I've always fantasized that I'll stay in Japan. I'm sure the culture appeals to me a lot, and I have a very big thing for Japanese system and being organized and their whole way of doing things. So yeah, maybe the closest time I'd say some Japan, maybe, yeah.
Three books or movies or podcasts that you would recommend.
So I'd say we should read Think and Grow Rich, for sure. Um, uh, Another good book, which I know I've authored it. It's actually a book which I've written for team member, but I think it's very practical in its management. This is called Winning Habits. And the third book that I would definitely recommend everybody else to read is The Master Key. It's a very the book which is not very famous, but it's very, very good. And it kind of, if you've done meditation and vipassana and things and all, you will relate to that book, because the book talks about first changing yourself inside, and then changing the outside is the reflection of the inside. So change inside, and it's doing the change. And well, it's a very old book. It's about 100-year-old odd book, but fabulous book.
So last time I was in office, you were very generous and you gifted me the Winning Habits book, and it was fantastic. Is it available online anywhere?
No, but I'll send you the updated version.
Lovely. I think it's something that you should put on Amazon. You should put it somewhere, because it is such an important thing for people to read. And I think you've taken all your experience and condensed it in a version which is consumable, and people can quickly get an insight and get advice which is practical, and they can apply it to their. I think it's especially good for salespeople. I'm a sales guy myself.
I want to send you, just give you 22 sins of selling. Oh, I'll send you that.
No, I think I have the other one. All right. If you could write a book today, what would you write about?
I would write. I'm definitely going to write a book, something on the lines of Confessions of a hospitality man, kind of. Yeah. It's with all my mistakes and crazy ideas, and Yeah.
But that's an audience. People would love to read that, right? The behind the scenes, what happens.
I think it's a very honest book about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and
Absolutely. I'll be the first one to read that when you. But yeah.
for people who want to get in this industry, this is the plus and minus.
If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would that be?
Andrew Carnegie.
I think that's a wise choice. Last but not the least, what is the one life lesson you've learned in your life?
आगे जाओ. It's whatever happens, just keep looking ahead and just keep going forward.
Fantastic. There are a lot of people who want to enter the food business. What is the one single piece of advice that you would give to them?
I would say be clear on why you're entering the business. If you're entering because you didn't get admission into engineering and you didn't get admission into the medical, that's why entering the food business, then it may not be right for you. Or if you're entering because somebody else is on cruise and he's earning a lot of money and that's why I'm also coming in now, or if somebody's just doing because it's very glamorous and stylish, So I think be very clear on the reasons that you're doing it. It's a fabulous business. It's people. It's the second. We all know what the oldest business in the world is. So this is the second oldest business because But be very clear. It's a fabulous business. It's been around forever. It's going to be around forever. If the pandemic has taught us one thing is that people can't wait to go out and eat, travel, live life what normally again. And it's part of lifestyle now. There were time when going out to get to drink was like, that is an occasion. Now on the way back to work, you have 2 drinks and you go home. You meet your people, you have fun, and you go back. So it's now ingrained in lifestyle, and I think that's opportunity for a lot of people who are interested in entering, because such new kind of concepts are going to come up. Some new things are going to happen. Delhi is already opened officially till 3 a.m. You can serve liquor, have food till 5 a.m. So basically, you're practically open round the clock. Uh, Bombay already 24 hours was already introduced pre-COVID. So I think this is going to open up a whole new paradigm, a whole new opportunity, provided you're really interested in this business.
So how do you spot new trends? Because you've always been looking at new things. Many times you've created those new trends. But what is your personal mantra of spotting new trends?
For the number of trends that I've spotted, I've missed so many. It's like innovation. You sometimes you hey nahi chalne wala hai. And that's the big thing here. So it's there is no formula.
So thank you so much for taking out time. And I forgot to completely mention that you've recently got a doctorate. So now it is Dr. Vikram Kamat. And I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce as Dr. Vikram Kamat. But thank you for taking out the time and sharing so generously your wisdom and your lessons, life lessons, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm looking forward to what you innovate next. I've gotten a glimpse of a couple of new things you're already working on. I'm super excited to have them come to life. And going forward, I'm so interested on again checking back within a couple of years to see what more things you've learned, what new things you've learned. Because every time we've spoken, I've always walked away with like, oh, that, oh, like this, oh, like, oh, we should do this, we should try that. And every time I've met you, I've always walked away richer in knowledge, and I look forward to doing that again. Yeah. So thanks a lot. So guys, that was Dr. Vikram Kamat, the founder and chairman of VITS Group. Whatever he said today, there is so much truth to that. If you do one thing, just take one of his lessons, something you've learned from him, go apply it in your real life, and I can guarantee you that you'll be breaking your own ceilings very soon. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.